It's 12 noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. on the West.
And this is Reprint.
This isn't breaking headlines. This is a second look with context added for perspective.
This is Reprint, edited after the headlines.
All right. Happy Wednesday, and welcome to another edition of the Reprint. It is 9 a.m. on the West Coast and 12 p.m. on the East Coast. And so good morning and good afternoon to everyone out there. First of all, I've got to apologize for any delays that we may have because I am coming to you. I am not on the East Coast today. I am actually on the West Coast. I know, and I hate we can't be in the same place, but I am in my hotel.
Right? Yeah.
It was raining here, Victor. Every
I was
Monday,
just telling my wife that.
Get on here and you talk about how beautiful and how sunny, and then I come to LA. I come to LA, and there is no sunshine.
I was just telling my wife that today. I said, you know what's funny? Because every time Crystal comes in town, it rains.
There is no rain.
But it was so sunny. I kid you not. Ask any other Californian. It was like 80 degrees 2 days ago. Like
my Uber driver that picked me up from the airport told me that just yesterday, he said, if you had just gotten here one day before, it would have been different. It's totally different. So yeah, I guess I brought the
East Coast to the West Coast. You bought the East Coast to the West Coast. Golly.
It's not even like that in Atlanta, though. It's pretty weather in Atlanta.
I know.
Good weather for bad weather here. But we are here for a great cause. It is the Pan-African Film Fest Day. So we're super excited to be a part of the 2026 Pan-African Film Festival. Lenox Parker is a sponsor for this event, and we're super excited about that. So it is worth the bad background, no lighting, because I was expecting to have the light from the sun as my natural light, but
open the curtains up.
I don't have any natural light.
Oh well, yeah. I have light. It's all good. It's all good. We good. That's
Why
the point
is it still sunny where you
are? I have lights on in my room, and it's actually raining outside.
Okay, cool.
Actually,
I was like,
it's actually raining outside right now. Yeah.
Okay, it just looks sunny. Your background just looks sunny. Mine is crazy.
Well, I'm in Orange County, and LA is a little bit. LA gets hotter than. Well, I don't know. I'm more on the coast. You're more inland, so that could be a reason why too. But yeah, I'm gonna be seeing you tonight. Don't worry.
I know, but it seems like where you are is always sunny.
Because I live near the ocean. I live close to the beach, so you're gonna get that. You know what I'm saying?
He's gonna rub it in, guys. He's gonna rub it
I'm not rubbing it. I'm just saying,
He's gonna rub it in, but we're happy.
Listen, I'm an East Coaster. I moved from the East Coast to the West Coast, but I was born and raised East Coast, so trust me, I get it.
Yeah. Well, we're happy to be here with you all today. If you are listening live on Instagram, let us know where you're listening from. If you are listening live on YouTube, let us know. And of course, if you are listening to the replay of this, still check in with us and let us know how you're feeling, what you have going on. As you all know, it is February, and we are celebrating Black History Month. I always feel like we should not be celebrating Black History Month 1 month a year, but that is what we're doing. We're celebrating Black History Month. And do you feel like Victor, do you feel that there's been do you feel like there's adequate celebration? Do you feel like people are really celebrating?
No, I think with all of the drama in the world going on and all of the stirred up racism, it just seems every time Black History Month comes around, there's like a pile-on of racism. It's like, and they get mad and say, "Oh, we shouldn't have a Black History Month." Well, I mean, we try to celebrate ourselves all the time, but we don't get that, and so I just don't see the celebratory stuff. We celebrate more in the summertime than we do in February, because and then we piled in with Valentine's Day, which is this weekend coming up,
and the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, Valentine's Day,
All-Star Weekend.
All-Star Weekend is just a jam pack of other things other than Black history. But I would say this: in this country of America, every month, if you think about it, and this is for the viewers, every single month there's a holiday. Which in terms, if you think of the government as a person, every single month is a holiday. So every single month they make a reason for us to spend money. Black history is something we should be celebrating 12 days of the year, 12 months of the year, 65. And we should be celebrating each other and our accomplishments and our failures, but we should be celebrating our heritage every single month of the year. So Lenox Parker is not with that. We're with celebrating our culture on the whole for the whole year. So
absolutely. And I agree. I think a lot of times, but I think the news cycle is one thing, and I think that's what we were kind of talking about. The news cycle doesn't really allow you to celebrate. There's so much trending news because that's just the way we digest news is so different than it was at one time. So I think that it is important. That's why we feel like this broadcast and other media outlets are so important, because it's important for us to tell our stories and us to still be in control of that. And so, speaking of that, we have committed to highlighting a Black business every single day of this broadcast. But you know what? I think that, and I'm sure, Victor, that you will be in agreement with me. I have decided that instead of doing it just for the month of February, I think we should just do it indefinitely. On Lenox and Parker here on the Reprint, we should celebrate a Black business every day so that we are actually putting our money where our mouth is and really doing that. And so if you have a Black business that you want to be featured on the Reprint, please email hello@Lenox and Parker. If Victor can put that in the chat, hello@LenoxandParker.com. Please email us and highlighting your business with some great pictures, and we will definitely celebrate. I think we have quite a few weeks in the year, so we get a chance to be the first, well, be one of the ones to say, don't focus on February, let's focus on year round, and making our support an action. Support is a verb. It is not just a pretty word that we say when we want to feel like we are doing something. It's something that it requires action. And so with that being said, clip that. I want to highlight our Black business of the day. It is Brown Sugar Babe. Brown Sugar Babe is, first of all, can I just say that this product, and you all can get this online. There is also a flagship store in Atlanta. But Brown Sugar Babe, it feels like, I would say it feels like neo soul affirmation being slathered on your body. That's what Sugar Babe feels like to me. Because first of all, I think when I first was introduced to the project, to the product, I thought, okay, it's called brown sugar, and the first thing it made me think of was D'Angelo.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I thought of D'Angelo's brown sugar, and so when I had the opportunity to meet Makita Gibbons, who is the founder and creator of Brown Sugar Babe, she told me that indeed I was right, and
wow,
she did name the product after the song, because a D'Angelo song specifically just it affirmed your womanhood, your sensuality, your value and beauty. And so this line of body oils, can I tell you all, I went to one of the celebrations of the flagship store in Atlanta, and I had a chance to smell and try some of the different fragrances. A lot of them are rooted in neo soul. It's just rooted in us. But
Wow, nice,
they're
nice.
body oils that have it's something that you can put on in the morning and you feel it all day, and it actually softens your skin. A lot of times you use a body oil for the smell, but it doesn't actually soften your skin. And so I had a few. They sent me a few. We do advertisements in Lenox Parker, and they sent me a few of the scents. My mother comes in my room and gets one. My mother is she probably like is one of the first one. I mean, my first example of skincare, and she's really big into making sure your skin is
Nice.
soft, making sure your skin is taken care of. So she puts the oil on, and she's like, "Oh, you don't need all these. You don't need all
That's
these."
funny.
But
That's funny.
it's a beautiful product. Makita Gibbons actually was working for a bank and would do this for herself. It was a part of her self-care. And then her coworker started asking her they were like, "Oh my God, you smell so good. Can you bring me some of that?"
Okay.
So she started making them for her coworkers. Eventually she realized, wait a minute, I'm making things for you. I need to get paid for this, right? Because it takes money to put the ingredients together. And so she did it. It's grown into a multi-million-dollar company, and they focus on aromatherapy, community engagement, and creating intensified versions of popular scents. Really, really good for the skin, really smells good. And most importantly, as you see right here, it just feels like us. It feels good. Brown sugar. I can't think of another descriptive word to describe self-care with African American women, and not just women, because they also have scents for men as well, or at least there are a lot of scents that actually probably could go are unisex. But check them out. Black Business of the Day, Brown Sugar Babe, definitely something to look into for a Valentine's Day gift. Trust me, if you
Yes.
have that for your special one, I am certain they will appreciate it. But check them out online on Instagram, Brown Sugar Babe.
When I hear the name Brown Sugar Babe, first thing I thought was D'Angelo, and I'm hearing like the guitar playing in the background and the music, the low bass sounds, and I'm like, does it smell like cinnamon spice and brown sugar?
It smells. It's just like a lot of the scents are like really earthy and just fresh. I have it on now, so I keep smelling my hands. But but most importantly, it leaves your skin actually feeling very soft, smelling good, but not a lot of oils just sit on top of the skin, and the skin doesn't absorb them. But the product, she took a lot of care into creating the product, and I think that's one of the things that's important. You can go to the website, D Brown. You can go to the website. We're putting it in the chat. You can also, it's in the chat, and you can also visit them on Instagram. Brown, the O is missing, Brown Sugar Babe, BRWN Sugar Babe on Instagram. But Victor has put the actual website in, and trust me, you will not regret it. This is something I'm actually wearing right now, and my mother did steal a couple of my oils. So
moms. Okay.
Yeah, my mom is, and I just want to say, because I know that we're going to be back on Friday, but this is the week for Valentine's Day, and I just want to, my mother is an amazing woman, and now that she's living with me, I get a chance to really see her a lot more and talk to her, and I'm very thankful for this opportunity that God has given me. But one of the things I love about my mom that I would love to share with all of you out there, specifically women that often feel bad on Valentine's Day, because I used to, when I was single, sometimes I would get a little bit down in the dumps because you see all this commercialism, as Victor talks about earlier. But one of the things that my mom taught me, after my mom made a choice, after she split with my dad, she made a choice that she did not want to pursue another relationship. She wanted to focus on her children. And one of the things that she would always do, so I saw this modeled, is that even though she was always her own Valentine, right? Yes, she was a great mother to my brother and I, but she always took the time to take care of herself. Once we had some rough times, but as things moved on, she would always, if it was always some type of skin product, and if she didn't have the money to buy the expensive ones, which a lot of times she did not, she would mix Vaseline with scents. So sometimes the cheaper scent things were they were cheaper, but they wouldn't be good for your skin. And so she would make mixtures at home. She would do whatever she could. And we always knew that if you wanted to get something for my mother, it was something for her, something that would something in her self-care routine, whether it was Bath and Body Works or Red Cologne or one of those old school scents or something. But she always did it for herself. It wasn't for anyone. And I think that a lot of women would benefit from knowing that, regardless of what's going on in your life, you are never without love because you have yourself. And that's the first step to finding love, is to love on yourself. So even if you don't have plans for Valentine's Day, get you some brown sugar, babe, take you a wonderful bath and lather some of that good old neo soul self-love on. And I promise you will enjoy it. And probably once you look around, love will be all around you, whether it's friends, family, coworkers. Love comes in many different ways.
I want to add something to that. As you was talking about your mom and memories, I remember growing up, my mom would do Mary Kay.
Yes.
And the representatives would come around and she would like look at the products. They'll do like the home Mary Kay things, and I'll be like, what's going on? And I'm watching my mom pick out little things, and so she did the same thing too. She would buy like the lotions and stuff like that, and pamper herself as much as she could. I saw that growing up, so I'm like, okay, now you mention it, memories are coming back. Like, oh, my mom did the same thing too, and I was able to witness that. So it all helps with growth, when you have kids.
It does. Yeah. And I love the perspective of a man that has witnessed his mother doing that. Yes, people said to Avon. So I love that. I think that we have to make sure that we are teaching our daughters, and we're modeling that for young women today. You may not have a daughter and you may not have a mother that you have a close relationship with, but you can always model this. You can always talk about it. We are all on social media. So, let's show ourselves, loving on ourselves first. For Valentine's Day this weekend, and then we can love on the significant others, the kids, and all that stuff. But first, you got to love on you. With that being said, I guess we got to get into this news. We're going in the opposite direction.
Let's do it.
The direction of love. There was, unfortunately, we're going in the exact opposite direction. There was a mass shooting in Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia, and it has left 10 people dead. This includes a suspected female shooter after a gunman opened fire at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School at a nearby home. Dozens more were injured, with at least 2 in critical condition. The tight-knit community and Canadian leaders are reeling from what authorities describe as one of the deadliest school shootings in recent Canadian history. And what's crazy to me about this is that we don't hear about shootings in Canada. You know what I mean? I thought that Canada was someplace that we don't often see shootings. I'm trying to upload a photo here, but it looks
where's the slide at?
I'm having some trouble uploading slides here because it's probably my internet is just not allowing me to do that. But we don't often hear about mass shootings in Canada. So it's interesting and not just a mass shooting, but this was a deadly one. 10 people have been unalived and then even more injured. Any idea, any more context on this, Victor?
So what I heard was that it was in 2 locations, a home and a school. So I guess the school and the home are in the same proximity area. And the gun person, I think I'm hearing it's a woman that was the gun person. I think one person was shot and killed. The other person died on the way to the hospital. And from what I was told was that the town was really small. I think it was like 2,500 people. It was a really small town in Canada. So thoughts and prayers to those people's families. Obviously they don't know what the reason is yet. They haven't, it takes a week or 2 before, you hear news back home from the authorities as to what the reason was. Was there a manifesto, but Canada, like you said, usually doesn't have any type of shootings. Well, not that we hear of. So it's interesting to see what actually went down in that little town for that event. So again, thoughts and prayers for the families that are affected by it. And it's never a good thing when people lose their lives, especially that many people, at a school. Yeah.
It says that the attack began around 1:20 p.m. Midday at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School, and the school only has around 175 students. So that's a very, very, very small school, but it would speak to this town being as small as you mentioned. And it seems like there were victims all around. There were some found in the school, some found at a nearby residence, as you said, and they were believed to be connected to the shooter. Police believe that they do have the suspected shooter, which was a woman, and she was found deceased from a self-inflicted injury, like she took life. Yeah. But it's interesting also that we're seeing women be involved more and more often in these types of crimes. Years ago, we would have automatically made assumptions about a suspect in a situation like this. And a lot of times assumptions and stereotypes were made that it would be an African-American or a man of color. And then we started seeing that usually in situations like this, there were not men of color, but usually white males. But in this situation, and we've seen several others, there have been a lot of females now becoming violent offenders. So I wonder what the uptick in that is due to, besides just all of us being in a really bad place.
Yeah, I mean, one can only assume, right? In cases like this, or women, I guess, I would say, you get to the point where you had enough. Like, what's the world gonna do for me? Like, no one's helping me. We see what's going on. We look at the Epstein files right now and see how they're treating these women that were abused, whether or not it was 5 or 10 or 20, but we know it's been decades. We know a lot of women has been abused, so it's like, I think about how women feel in this time. There's Me Too movement, there's justice, but every time a woman comes forward, is usually, she must need a paycheck. It must be a payday. It must be and people don't understand how the law works. A lot of times when people go to court for abuse, stuff like that, in most cases, there's a limitation as to when they could bring those charges. One, it's harder to prove because of the time, and so the only thing left to do to give some type of closure is a civil case. So there's civil cases, and then there's criminal cases. A lot of times those two cases are separate, and so a woman could go and bring charges criminally, but the judge or whoever could be like, well, you don't have too much of a shot. So in the meantime, while this is being processed, over here we're going to do civil case because you have lost money and time for all these burdens and whatever the case is. So we only hear about the civil side all the time. We never hear about the criminal side. And people are used to jumping the gun and, she just wants money, or it's all about money, or because it's a celebrity like Tyler Perry or whomever, allegedly, in these cases, it's usually because of monetary reasons that people say that they're doing it. But how can a person be made whole? It's a hard thing. So I could only imagine what women are going through at this time in the history of the earth, where people are coming forward, but there's no real justice being done. So it's hard. It's unfortunate.
That's interesting. That's an interesting perspective. I do think that women, there was this idea that women were oppressed and would take it in earlier years, and now women are definitely standing up and fighting back. I mean, I don't mean fighting. That's not a positive way to fight back.
No, I'm not condoning that. I'm just saying.
I get what you're saying. Women are definitely not sitting down and taking things. And also, I think mental health is an issue that affects everybody. It's not gender-based. It's not culturally based. It is definitely something that affects everyone. But our hearts and prayers go out to the entire community there in Canada. And I think, whenever we hear things like this, it's in Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia, in Canada. But I think that when you hear things like this, you think, well, for a while we would say, well, this doesn't happen here, right, in the States, when there's huge, chaos, and a lot of times people are disconnected. I think everything that's happened in the world, I think after COVID with 2020 has really shown us how connected we all are.
How small the world is.
It's small the world is. And I've always thought, instead of thinking, I don't have to deal with that, I always think there, but for the grace of God, goes I. So you put yourself in the position of those parents, family members, friends, that community. By it being such a small community, it definitely is going to be, the devastation is going to be amplified. You know what I mean? Because that's so many victims in such a small community. So again, our hearts and prayers go out. And if we learn anything else later in the week, we will definitely bring that back to you all. Moving on from that, we have additional bad news. I don't think anyone's going to be surprised by this, though. The United States has fallen to its lowest ever position in Transparency International's annual Corruption Perceptions Index. Has the United States slip into 29th place out of 182 countries with its lowest score on record. Experts say the drop reflects broader concerns about weakening democratic norms, institutional independence, and anti-corruption enforcement, part of a global trend of declining performance among democracies. I don't think
Interesting.
I don't think any of us are surprised. The Corruption Perceptions Index marks countries based on perceived public sector corruption among experts and business leaders. Scores range from 0, which would be highly corrupt, to 100, very clean. The U.S. scores 64 in 2024, is worse since the current methodology began in 2012. I'm surprised that we aren't higher, just because we have more resources than most countries, right? And so I think that there's this direct relationship between poverty and corruption, right? It's very, very clear, And for us to be one of the wealthiest countries and to still be one of the highest in corruption, it just shows that our corruption is not necessarily due to poverty. It's because I would say this, like, it's perspective. Because if you go outside of the United States, a lot of people, we do have a lot of people here in the United States that are living, under the poverty line. I'm not suggesting that's not true, but still the United States poverty line is very different than when you go to some other countries. It's a total different type of poverty, right? So United States, you have people that are homeless, and you have people that they have access to shelters. Some of, it's different. Other countries, the poverty is just very, very different. And there's a lot more violence because there's not any resources, right? But in the United States, we have so many resources. So understanding that, I just feel like we have less of a reason to have as much corruption as we do. We are a capitalist country, and capitalism is ruling. But I do think that, Tammy, is definitely greed and corruption across leadership. And I think that's become even more apparent. I think also the whole idea of the United States being a democracy is being challenged. But I do think there's been pockets of corruption that have been in different places, right? And it's been covered up. And we are seeing a lot of uncovering of that. We keep mentioning the Epstein files, which I told you guys I am tired of hearing about, but it is
Me too.
deeper than any of us can probably imagine that aren't in the know, right? And so it just proves that there's a lot. I think when things get to a certain point, they become exposed. It doesn't mean that it wasn't happening before. It just means that we're seeing it. So we're understanding, we're feeling the brunt of our democracy being challenged before, but it probably always was. We just weren't able to see it. And there was not a leader in office that was intent on
bringing it down
in a public way. Because I'm not suggesting that there weren't other leaders, other presidents that were doing equally corrupt things, but they were doing it from behind closed doors and in secret. And our current president likes to do things in public and loud.
Yeah, for the most part, this is a reflection on the current administration. Let me start there, because past administrations, they worked with other sides across the aisles, of however you want to word that, Democrats, Republicans, and they would change things, make things happen, remove things, and we would see ebbs and flows of the government and the changes we go through. This administration decided to gut the whole thing out and not replace anything. So if you go into someone's home and you say we're going to do cleaning today, and you take out all the kitchen stuff, you remove all the carpet, you remove all of the furniture, you move everything out, and you don't clean it and replace it. You walk into the apartment or the house, you're like, this is dirty. What's going on? And you look at the floors, there's no flooring anymore. There's no, so they removed the Medicaid and Medicare system. They took out the school stuff. They cut this, they cut that, they closed this, they changed it. They did a whole bunch of stuff across the board. So people are feeling those effects. So what's happening is now there's more corruption because there is no infrastructure in place. And so even in our foreign affairs, all the deals that he went around and cut, and he closed the WHO deal. He climate change killed that. The deal with Canada killed that. Tariffs killed. So he's cutting everything, and he's not replacing it with anything good or changing anything. If you take away, if you can tell people I'm feeding you, right? But then you go and take away my breakfast, my lunch, and my dinner, and give me a snack. Yeah, you're feeding me, but I'm not nourished. I don't have breakfast. I don't have lunch. I don't have dinner.
It's almost like if you say, I don't want you to eat McDonald's, right?
Right.
I mean, no slam to McDonald's, but they'll be fine. If you don't want me to eat McDonald's, but you take McDonald's away, but you don't replace it.
Yeah.
So now I'm in a worse place because yes, that food might not have been the best, right? But you have to have plans to replace it. And I don't want to say that because I believe that we have to be objective, right? And so I definitely know that, and we all know that there have been there's corruption in government it's just a part of the culture of America.
Yeah.
However, I also think sometimes in order for things to get better, they have to get worse. However, this worse is going to have a long-term effect on our country. We don't know what that effect is going to be because we are just 1 year in. But I don't want to suggest that there has not always been corruption in government, even on local level.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying based upon what we just read about this in this new drop in index is partially towards the fact that the government cut all these things. I mean, look what happened with the SNAP benefits. People don't have food anymore. And so, it's a lot of these changes that's happened so drastically. And then when you cut subsidies and people's healthcare and food, and then you go out in the private sector, all these companies, Amazon or whatever, cut jobs. Now I have nothing. So that's just one part. And this is how they gauge who goes where on the chart, is also by the civil liberties that have been taken away, infrastructure, corrupt politicians, all these different things make the reason why our name is lower on the list now, or
I agree.
Close to yeah.
I agree.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It is crazy. And like I said, I when you look at it, you realize that for us to have such a high ranking, we are so far ahead. I bet if we did a study and looked at the other countries that are ahead of us, they would not have the resources that we do. So I feel like that means we're even in a worse place because we have more and we are doing less with it. Moving on to something that we saw coming. Definitely saw this coming. So it's so strange how this internet is affecting my ability to post our clips. I don't know what that's going to do later for our videos, but the National Governors Association has officially canceled its formal meeting with President Trump, which was scheduled for February 20th. This decision came after the White House indicated it would only invite Republican governors to the annual business session in the cabinet briefings. We just talked about the fact that we are becoming less and less of a democracy.
Yep.
And this is proof. So the NGA is supposed to be a bipartisan organization representing all 55 U.S. governors and territories. It stated it can no longer facilitate this event because its mission is to represent all governors regardless of party. In response, 18 Democratic governors announced a total boycott of the traditional black tie White House dinner. This move effectively ends a decades-old tradition of bipartisan federal-state collaboration during the NGA's annual winter gatherings in Washington. This is just another death of a bipartisan tradition that is going to hurt us immensely. If we cannot work together,
well, hold up. It's not we. It's not we. It's not a we can. We. You're speaking French now, okay? We work well together. That's the problem. They don't want to invite us to the table. And when you're part of when the good old boy system gets infiltrated, and we show up, then it's like, the press secretary Caroline Leavitt was saying how the White House is the president's home and he can invite whoever he wants. So you're telling me, on one hand, you're the president, you could do whatever you want, but then you're going to invite the person of color to show up to the breakfast, to the meeting, to the planning, just because y'all have an issue, or you came at him and you talk bad about him, and then when he defends himself, now you don't. It's a game, and a lot of the times, we see what the system, this is like we talked about before, we're seeing the system unravel before our face, before our eyes. And it's not like we didn't already know. We already know what the deal is.
Right.
And I'm curious to find, well, are there are women governors as well too. So I
don't believe there are a lot of them, but there are. But this is going to be a problem. We talked a little bit about this a couple of days ago, right? Because the governor for Baltimore was uninvited to the initial dinner, and I figured there would be. We were actually wondering if other Democrats would step up in his to support him, and it appears that this is what's happening. So I don't know what this means. If states can't work together, that's scary, to me. It's just changing the overall fabric of our country.
They were against California. Well, he was against California, the president, for a minute, but people don't understand California has the fourth largest GDP in the world, which California by itself is a small country. And also the money that California brings in here in this state, they give back money to the federal government and to support smaller states that don't have revenue. Right. So, like you said, if governors can't work together, it's not a good look. So, even in that, like, this administration is divisive along all party lines. It's divisive in everything: Congress, the Senate, to governors, down to mayors. We've seen him, talk bad about different mayors, and so it's just a bad time for our government. But hopefully, let's keep positive. Hopefully, we can change this. This could change the next cycle. We don't know. We don't know.
I try. We do have midterms coming up, and I think this is. I think it's just the only thing I can say is it's just really important for us to be active in the midterms. I can admit it's very discouraging because it feels like a lot of this has taken place and it's done in a way that we've never seen before. So at this point, I even participating in the midterms, it feels like instead of voting for your country, right, we have to vote to stop one person or, one agenda, and that's unfair. But that also is what we have to do. That's what we have to do, or we're going to end up in a worse place. And I don't even know where we're going to be at by the time we get to the midterms, quite honestly. I'm trying to be objective. I'm trying to be a good journalist, but right now, this climate does not allow for good journalism because you can't really be objective when we see things happening just in real time exponentially. So it's disheartening. And more of the same.
Oh boy.
The halftime show is having such we knew that this would happen. There's so much backlash over this halftime performance, Super Bowl performance, which in the sum of things is not really important. It's not something that we should be talking about. But of course, Kid Rock has the nerve to come out, and not only did he speak against the halftime performance with Bad Bunny, but he also labeled Jay-Z a DEI hire by the NFL, suggesting the league brought Jay-Z in to address diversity after the Colin Kaepernick situation, which we do know that he did, but to take away Jay-Z's ability to be as a businessman, calling him a DEI hire is ridiculous. It is it's just a racist remark. He asked why Jay-Z was given influence over Super Bowl halftime show, saying it seems motivated in part by diversity, equity, and inclusion rather than pure merit. He says he respects Jay-Z's hustle in music, but amplifies the decision was a demographic strategy, not an artistic choice. He also said, poor kid, about Bad Bunny. He said, I don't blame him for doing this. He just wanted to have a party. And that's what he did. I blame the NFL for putting him in this position. Now, what's interesting about this is that Kid Rock, his career and his reputation as an artist is all about partying. It's just very strange that he is speaking to us as though he's been this conservative, socially conscious value type artist. That's not the case. I think we read some lyrics from some of his songs on Monday, suggesting underage women were a goal. And he's always, his persona has been of someone that is a rule breaker. And I'm surprised that TBN and this, conservative network would promote the equal message. In fact, Bad Bunny's message was not about a party. It was about culture, which means it totally skips Kid Rock's ability to understand. But even more importantly, his reputation is about being a quote unquote badass and breaking rules and going against the grain. And it's so strange that white conservatives, would bring in someone with a worse message and tout it as holier than thou. It's just laughable. Am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy. First of all, let me say this clearly. Kid Rock doesn't have a pinky amount of talent compared to who we're talking about. Jay-Z. Jay-Z shouldn't even be in his mouth. First of all, that name shouldn't either. Bad Bunny shouldn't be in his mouth either. Like, he doesn't have he's a reject based upon the fact that Kid Rock started out in the hip hop scene and people didn't really want his intake in the music, and so he left and went to rock and started more country rock stuff. I guess he got more embraced over there. He found his, they all start in the black scene and then move over to the, wherever they're going from
us. They try to take our
we can name. There's a few artists we can name. Kid Rock, Pink, no, I mean, not disrespectfully, because these are good artists, but I'm saying, like,
most of them,
Justin Timberlake, yeah, most of them, yeah. Blue Eye Soul, I get it, right? But what I'm saying is, like, Kid Rock saying that Jay-Z's a DEI hire. I mean, come on, like, Jay-Z has business qualifications and music qualifications, sold more records than Kid Rock. And the whole Bad Bunny performance, like you said, it went over his head, right? The fact that Bad Bunny came out and performed, like we talked about a few episodes ago, pretty much showed that this was all about culture, about representation. Everything. I went back and watched other videos of the Bad Bunny performance, and everything from him standing on the poles represented the power outages in Puerto Rico. I saw something on the flag he was carrying that they weren't allowed to carry flags back in the day. And the flag that he's carrying now has a lighter blue than a darker blue and representation. There's a whole bunch of symbolism that he went into doing it. So the fact that he said this is just a party, he doesn't understand. First of all, people of color that have been through so much stress and drama, that is the way how we find joy, we find community. And when we have a party, even back in the times of slavery and Jim Crow, when we had those little not what's those things called? The little clubs. What they were called back then? Juke joints. Those were times where you on Sundays. That's when you had time to put on your best clothes and dance and enjoy your life for that one day, because the rest of the time you were under the whip of the master. So for him to say that type of stuff is very ignorant of him. First of all, I look at Kid Rock and I'm like, there's nothing you can tell me or I would want to even hear from you. You know, your music doesn't speak to anything at all culturally. It's all about beer drinking and drugs and partying.
Which is ironic, because he said that Jay-Z was a DEI hire. Sir, what were you? What were you for this? Right. Because you were a representation of the whitest, you know, American figure, but it is without merit, you know. And I think people of color have a talent for turning a party with a purpose, right? So yes, it looked festive, but really there's a lot of messages and meaning.
Oh, so much message in this. Yeah, so much message and stuff. I mean, Machine Gun Kelly would have been a better you know, choice than Kid Rock. I mean, to be honest, the Backstreet Boys would have been a better choice than Kid Rock. I mean,
they probably would not have taken that. They would not have done it. They had to find someone that was an outcast and did not want to be a part of pop culture. And so that's what they did. And that's more negativity about the Super Bowl performance. I want to say I saw a beautiful comment by, oh my gosh, Mark, Jennifer Lopez's ex-husband. And I hate to refer to him like that, because he is definitely more than just Jennifer Lopez's ex-husband. His name escapes. Mark.
Oh, Mark Anthony.
Mark Anthony. I am so sorry, Mark Anthony.
Great Mark Anthony.
You are not Jennifer Lopez's ex-husband. I just was trying to get the name in my head. He is Mark Anthony. He is him.
Yes.
He said a beautiful, just gave a beautiful tribute to Bad Bunny. He said it was just, and you know, he said, I did understand, because obviously he's Hispanic, but he said it wasn't about that. He said, you know, music spans culture. It is a universal language. And he said, a lot of times you perform in a country that doesn't understand the language. The people understand the feeling. Music promotes a feeling and a connection, and it doesn't. It supersedes language and cultural barriers. And so he said, even though he did understand, he said it really wasn't about that. It really was about freedom and love. And he said he was very proud of Bad Bunny for that. He said he was definitely dancing in this, and just, you know, just so connected to the screen. He obviously wasn't there at the Super Bowl, but it just proves that there's so many people that cannot get out of their bubble. Do you know, I'm certain that Kid Rock has toured outside of the United States. And I'm certain that some of the audiences, or some of the people in that audience, were there and did not speak English, but they were there supporting because they feel they connected with his music. So to say something like that just shows his limited understanding of really what he's a part of. Because if you ask any artist who has toured, they understand the power of music. There are people that will, you know, I've been with TLC for almost 20 years, and they will go to Japan, and people that do not speak English at all will be there, knowing that they don't know what the words mean, but singing along. They feel the music, you know, and so it's just surprising that it's surprising that anyone who has performed, you know, on a big stage and has had the privilege of that, because there are many, many people that are more talented than Kid Rock or even other artists, but never get that opportunity. So to get that opportunity and then to devalue that experience by saying that it doesn't matter if you can't understand the words is shocking. This person, Jill Zarin, who is one of the Real Housewives of New York City. Jill has been in trouble before for saying things that are off color, but she made a statement this time, and she has been released yet again from the Real Housewives franchise. They were doing a docuseries on the Real Housewives of New York City with E! And after making this statement, Jill has been released for the second time.
We all agree. Now we all agree. I agree. I said it before that it was the worst halftime show ever. And it's 250 years that we're celebrating right now in the United States. And I just don't think it was appropriate to have it in Spanish. And quite frankly, I didn't need to see him grabbing his, G area. I think it was totally inappropriate. You've got all these young kids watching the Super Bowl, and he doesn't have to be grabbing himself every 5 seconds. Is he so insecure? Seriously, I didn't understand it. I don't speak Spanish. I would have liked to have known the words he was saying. To me, it looked like a political statement because there were literally no white people in the entire thing. I think it was a political statement, and I'm not taking a side one way or the other. I just do. I think it was an ICE thing. And I just think that the NFL sold out, and it's very sad because this was 75 years. And, shame. Shame. And Lady Gaga got a facelift. I didn't recognize her. I literally had to Google her face.
Surprisingly, we don't recognize you, ma'am, because you have done all kinds of things to your face as well. The person you
this
were
is
on
funny.
Real Housewives of New York City, you look very different than the person that we see there. But it's interesting. Out of all that foolishness, what I got was it had to be something that was negative because there were no white people in the entire thing. How ridiculously out of touch can you be? Do you know how many times we go to events, we do things where there are no people of color?
Yeah.
And it is not like hell, your television series for many, many years, there were no black people on the New York cities, the Real Housewives of New York City. Is that intentional? Because you're so disgusted by the fact that there are no white people on stage, but yet there are so many situations where there are no people of color. If that's the case, Jill Zarin, then we need to make sure that in every single production, there's representation across the board, which would put you out of a job because all you are is a spoiled white woman who has done nothing to have the platform that you have. So for you to be a person with no talent and to have been a part of this country and to be able to be seen and celebrated, having no talent, how dare you? And understanding that in every there are other cultures here that make up this country. You are not the only one. But if we were talking about whites that are talented and that do deserve to be in front of a television, you would not be that, ma'am.
You would not be it. Yeah.
All you have done is marry well. And that has not even helped you because I'm sure there's some divorces and some discourse in that background. So I just think it's amazing to hear a white person be honest, speak ignorantly and honestly, both at the same time. Two things are true. Ignorant and both honest, and saying, oh, but there's no white people in the entire performance.
Well, let me say this, right? So, like, people go back to Kid Rock for a second, which is still on the same NFL situation. Jay-Z doesn't make the decisions to who plays the Super Bowl or not, first of all, because that's the league, and they have a committee that decides that. This was a conversation that we know about because of the Lil Wayne and Kendrick situation. People were mad because of that reason, that why is Wayne not performing at New Orleans? Because he's whatever. And people were like, well, because the NFL have a committee that decides who gets picked for the performances, right? Whether Jay-Z have a say or not, that's here or there. But the NFL is owned by a group of very rich white men. They own so if they didn't like it from the top down, they would have canceled all of that from the beginning. They wouldn't have given Jay-Z a job or position. They wouldn't have the way how it's set up right now. So Kid Rock doesn't have the information. Neither does Jill. So these people are just irrelevant people with no talent. I don't know a Kid Rock song. And he's not a good performer. It's just a lot of bad people with wasting. Yeah, like he's on TV looking like I don't even understand. I'm moving on because it doesn't make any sense to say he's a D. And then he talks about Colin Kaepernick
He
kneeling, and that was the ICE thing, and she.
Now he said that he actually agreed. He was upset. He said he too was upset about the situation when Colin Kaepernick knelt. He didn't say that he condoned it, but he did say that he was upset. But I think that was a great PR. I just feel like that was PR. He's being used, and I mean it works to his benefit because his non-talent having self is relevant again for a minute. But it just, I don't know. That just pissed me off when Jill said, again, I sound very like not a credible journalist right now, but hearing Jill Zarin say that there were no white people in this.
No, you sound like a real journalist, and we gotta stop doing that ourselves, because we are human beings first, and we, titles and jobs are second, and we have to express ourselves, because we're not disrespecting her or Kid Rock. We're basically saying your comments and your views are irrelevant to our community.
Asinine.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. You know what bugs me though, because it's like when someone who is speaking and really should have no platform, because you haven't done anything to get there. At least Kid Rock, I can say, you know what, you can look at what you've done, and your words contradict your lifestyle, because you have for people. If you only have American white teenagers, listening to your music that spoke English, you would not have even had the success that you did, right?
Yeah.
So, but at least I understand he put in some work. Jill Zarin married a rich man and is about drama, and that's it. There's no talent.
Entitlement for both.
You don't have a platform to speak, and I shouldn't have even given you this much time in our broadcast. Forgive me. Those are
it's just a clear example of people who are entitled. That's what it comes down to. People who are entitled, and it's like instead of saying, you know what, I'm glad Bad Bunny had his performance, but we over here did this over here, and this is what we're doing. You're focusing more on him than on what you did, and your.
All you gotta do is turn over to Kid Rock and shut up.
Yeah, do your thing, sell your merch, and keep it moving.
But then I don't even think she has merch. She has her company does, her family company. She married into one, and I think they do rugs or something like that.
She married into one. It's funny.
Yeah, girl. Anyway, moving on to someone that actually has and actually matters.
Oh, yeah.
Sherri Shepherd, talk show host Sherri Shepherd, publicly addressed the cancellation of her syndicated daytime talk show. Sherri saying she's not ready to throw in the towel and plans to fight to keep the show alive in some form. She plans to do this while continuing to air new episodes through the fall. She expressed deep gratitude for the fan support and emphasized her commitment to spreading joy despite this setback. This was news because this was the first time Sherri had publicly spoken directly to the viewers on her show after returning from illness, acknowledging the cancellation and the love she's received from fans. If you guys remember, Lonnie Love spoke out and said it was wrong for the network and for that information about the show being canceled to be released. She felt like Sherri should have had the benefit and the choice to speak to her viewers first. And I do agree with Lonnie. Still, it was great to see Sherri speak about it and to say that she's not going to throw in the towel. And I will say, Sherri Shepherd was in a difficult position from the beginning. First of all, she's immensely talented and has been putting in dues for years.
Yeah.
Sherri Shepherd has been a comedian, a host, and just a force within the industry for over 3 decades. If you go back and look at television shows, sitcoms, she's put in so much work. And then to get this opportunity after Wendy Williams fell upon hard times, it was a difficult transition, right? So a lot of people didn't want to give her the benefit of the doubt because they were still feeling a loyalty to Wendy Williams, even though she made it clear that the show was not replacing Wendy. There were things happening with Wendy that were no one's, fault, but coming in a situation that, has kind of been branded by someone else at the same time in that show was difficult, but she did it with so much grace. And not only did she do it with grace, but she won the audience over. Sherri is positive. She's fun. She just has a beautiful spirit. And I believe that there's going to be a bigger opportunity for her. I believe when you win the fans over like that, they are locked into you and they will follow you. I believe that out of the other shows, because I know that there's also several other talk shows on, right? But I believe that Sherri had the most difficult situation to come into because she was coming into a show that had been branded and just, Wendy Williams is a huge part of media, right? Pop culture media. She just was. And she was a phenomenon. So for Sherri to come in, notwithstanding hold her head high and to just be positive towards everyone that comes on that show. She's never said anything negative. There was a lot of flack that came her way from people that were really not necessarily upset with Sherry, but really upset with the fact that Wendy was no longer there. Wendy is not going to be able to come back because Wendy is not able to come back to that format. We definitely wish the best for her, but Sherry came in and she did her thing. And within a few short years, people have now come to see that show and that place in the mornings as hers. And so I just want to say that I think she's a woman that has been really, really grinding and has gone and is underrated in many, many ways, because not only is she great as a talk show host, she's also a great comedian. And she's just a great example of hard work and someone that refused to give up, you know? And I just think, I just wanted to give her flowers as someone that, kind of watched that transition. I had the benefit of going to the Wendy Williams show, and then I've also been to the show with her. And I'm a fan of both. But I will say that visiting the show a few weeks ago, went in December before Christmas, there's a different energy there. And I think it's due to Sherry being just a beautiful spirit. The audience, it just feels different. It doesn't feel gossip driven. It doesn't feel driven by making fun of other people and tearing people down. And I know that is what our culture really appreciates today, but for her to be herself and to not give into that, she was not negative. She was not a clone of what Wendy promoted on that show. She brought something very different, and it was appreciated, and her fans love her for that. And I believe that they will follow her. I really hope that her team can put something together quickly so that they don't lose momentum. But I know that that fan base and that love that she's getting is not going to leave.
Yeah, I ran into Sherry Shepherd. I forget what year it was. 20 something, when the Dove Awards was in Atlanta. She was one of the presentation people, and I was at the hotel interviewing another recording artist, Christian artist. And I was in the lobby and I ran into her, and she was really nice. She was a really nice person. Stopped and gave me a picture and a hug and whatnot. And I'm nothing bad to say about Sherry. She put, like you said, she paid her dues. She put her time in. She's a stand-up human being. And judging from what I see, or looking at what I see on social and whatever, she has a very genuine, kind spirit. And I'm hoping, like you said, that her team is able to find a home for her and her show, whether it be a podcast or, another network. I'm not sure. What network is she on right now? I'm not even...
Well, I'm not sure. So she's distributed on Fox on many networks. Well, Wendy was, right? So she just took that slot. But
maybe that contract's up.
I do think there's changing. There's a change in the way people are consuming content, specifically daytime TV. That's something that's been one way for so long. So I would love to see her on a network, a streaming platform. I think that would be the place to go. I think she could really break ground in that area by bringing these fans and these listeners that are used to conventional daytime television, also merging that and probably building her audience with the streaming audience, because streaming is the new way. So I am hoping that is the case. I think she could, be a pioneer in that if she was able to, merge that conventional energy that she has that people really are used to, but also pull it over to a streaming platform. There are a lot of television shows that have done that, right? That have that feel of. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying, do you think that the traditional television show style is fading out, is over, is done? I mean,
I think that is done, but I think that as you make that transition, people are still going to miss that, right? People have gotten accustomed to seeing the news in the morning and then also watching daytime television, which often gives us pop culture, news and laughter, but information. We like seeing celebrities do those press runs, go by these television shows. I'd be interested to see what the numbers are like for like Kelly and Mark, because the people are used to that. And so I think even though streaming is, the new thing as far as how we're consuming it. I think that there is a space to bring that familiarity, from the cable type network over to streaming. And I think Sherry would be the perfect hybrid for that, because she is, fun, and she's not stuck in a box of being very like the sit down host. I think she could make it a lot more. She'd have a lot more flexibility, on
a variety show, almost like a variety type of show.
Yeah, I think her team has got to be really creative and do that. But I think that she would be the person that would make the most sense, because she does have those talk show bones, right? That it takes to actually deliver news and get out of the way of it. But then she also is vibrant enough, and energetic enough to connect with that Gen X audience, and then that the streaming viewer. So I could see that working out really, really well for her and her team. But I just wanted to acknowledge that she definitely came in with a big, some big shoes to fill. And she did it with grace and nailed it. And I think that's going to continue on. I know we had a quick update. There has been no, well, I won't even worry about that. There's no update. There has been a suspect arrested, not named yet, in this Guthrie case, Savannah Guthrie, her mother's case. She's still not home. And realistically, the further this goes, it is definitely disheartening, because
suspicious. It's a lot of suspicious. Yeah.
A lot of suspicious things. But I saw some content around, some information around her having a connection. Savannah making some statements about the Epstein files. Also, did you see Ghislaine Maxwell agreed to testify and clear President Trump if given immunity?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I also saw a video of her. In her prison cell, moving around and stuff like that. There's a clip going around where she's in her prison cell and she's moving around and reading a book and just laying on her bed and just like wow, that's interesting. They have that clip going around,
Yeah. It's interesting that she would get immunity for clearing Trump.
Yes, that's interesting too. There's a lot of interesting.
Very, very interesting. And there are conflicting stories coming out. There are people saying Trump and Epstein were working together and and there are other people saying the exact opposite. So, but that was just interesting that would be the statement, that she will clear Trump if given immunity for herself.
They are definitely muddying the waters a lot, and a lot of distraction pointing here and there. Even with this Nancy mom's case,
Guthrie, Savannah, Nancy Guthrie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even with that going on, it's Savannah. Yeah, they have a video with a ring cam with a doorbell guy coming, and they got him, and I guess he's released, but the problem is that, well, not problem, but the issue that I'm having with this is there's no clear message from the FBI or the authorities saying anything. They don't know. They're like, we don't know what's going on. We're still looking. And I'm like, this has been a week, 2 weeks, and there's no information, nothing at all. Fingers pointing towards the sister, fingers pointing towards the brother-in-law, fingers pointing at Epstein, fingers pointing here, fingers pointing there, but nothing. And I'm like, you know what? This is weird.
It's a 83-year-old woman, so I don't know.
This reminds me of Jean-Benet Ramsey case a little bit. How was so much speculation going on, and we still don't know what's happening to this day, or what happened to her. To this day, it's like there's still speculation as to how she died. And so I don't know. I look at the case. I'm like, okay, I'm keeping it on my radar, but I'm not going to focus on it, because if the FBI and the authorities don't have information, we won't have information, because we don't know what actually went down behind the scenes, what's happening, and we don't know, about. They said they were going to pay the ransom. Did they pay the ransom? We don't know.
Bitcoin. There's like Bitcoin, where they're saying that they were putting the money in Bitcoin account, and the account wasn't touched. Prayers to their family. We want to end want to end today's broadcast on a positive note. You guys know we are celebrating the Pan-African Film Festival, which is going on today, as well as happening yesterday and today here in Los Angeles. And I can't get that slide to show either, but
what slide? It was showing. There you go.
It was showing?
It popped up and went back. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, great.
It's there. It's there.
Okay, great. So I've probably been showing stuff this today and it's just working different because I'm not on my home studio. But anyway, celebrating the Pan-African Film Festival, and we are honoring our cover girl, Daphne Springs. Please visit LenoxandParker.com and check out our cover story. We believe that laughter heals. And after a difficult 25, we wanted to highlight someone that had been a part of helping us be in a better space. And we feel like Daphne is an up and coming queen of comedy. So we're looking forward to celebrating her tonight at the Soul of Comedy, the Pan-African Film Fest. We will have clips for you on the website after tonight. And also here Friday, when you check in, we'll definitely have that as well. So make sure that you check that out. One last thing we wanted to share before we go. I love human interest stories that are cute. And there was a young lady that posts a couple of, I guess a month or so ago, that she was trying to achieve Tiana Taylor's hairstyle. And so she posted it and Shade Room picked it up and people were laughing. I actually laughed and made a comment on the post. But, you know, we live in a DIY, culture where we see something and we're trying to figure it out, be it a fit, somebody's fashions or hairdo. And there's a lot of us that are able to do it. I am not one of those that is very good at being able to do my hair like something I saw, but this young lady did, and it didn't quite turn out like Tiana Taylor. We know Tiana has been tearing up red carpets. She's had a run. 2025 and 2026 definitely belong to Tiana Taylor, but Tiana's team showed her the post and she actually went and caught up with the young lady. And we have a little video from that right here.
Hold on. I tried Tiana's hair.
Are we okay to run that? Okay. You got to unmute yourself, Victor. Okay. I'm not sure what's going on. LA is not good for me, but let me run this clip. I can't hear you. So let me run this clip and then we can get ready to get out of here.
Y'all know I tried Tiana's hairstyle and baby, I failed.
All right. So what you going for today?
You.
Okay.
And usually this is the time where I'm teaching y'all something, but I had to sit back and be the student today. And Tiana was not playing when she said she and her glam squad were going to come in and teach me how to do it themselves.
Ooh.
And y'all, the whole time she was teaching me, I could not stop thinking about how cute I was finna be. Tiana's glam squad is top tier, okay? Every hair was in place. The makeup was done to perfection. And her coming in to do the finishing touch just felt like chef's kiss. And now a moment for the blind reaction. Oh. I will never forget this moment in my life. To Tiana.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah, that was nice. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, that was nice. The screen is frozen though. I don't know why it's stuck on the path. Yeah, it's stuck on that. And on social, it's doing fine, but on the YouTube, it's stuck. I don't know why.
So could you guys see the video?
We did see the video. Oh, there we go. We're back. It's good. We're good now. We're good.
This is not. Yeah, I'm not technologically advanced. I got to get back.
Okay. It's okay. Listen,
I
it's
got to get back to Atlanta, but I didn't want to miss you guys. We didn't want to take a day off, but I got to get back to Atlanta. This is not working for me, but
it's all good.
I'm excited to be here. You guys, please tune in to the site for the rest of the day. Look at that article. We have a beautiful digital cover. Victor did his thing. Beautiful animated digital cover for Daphne Springs. Check out the website. Check out the Instagram. Make sure that you support, share if you can. Check out Daphne. And I do, Haitian Empress, I think you should try. I'm telling you guys, if my hair was short, I would definitely try that Tiana Taylor do. It was so cute. And do you know when you're, women, I'm sure men are the same way. When you guys get a haircut and get your beard all trimmed up, you start to feel yourself. But there's nothing like having your hair and makeup done and feeling beautiful, feeling good about yourself. And then that energy, it just exudes. So as we get ready to focus on the weekend for lovers, do something for yourself. Try the Tiana Taylor hairdo. Let us know how it goes.
Try it.
Try something new. We love you guys for watching. Yes. And we are going to be back on Friday, like I said, with a lot of content from tonight's celebration with some amazing comics. We have Tony Rock, Tommy Davidson, Finesse. It's going to be a great night. But we look forward to sharing that with you guys here on the broadcast. And so stay tuned. There'll be more from Lenox and Parker. We love you guys for watching. Make sure that you comment. Make sure that you like this. Make sure that you're subscribed so that you can keep getting
share, like, comment, all of the above.
All of that. All right.
Yes.
We'll see you guys here on Friday, 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Western, 12 p.m. Eastern. And Haitian Empress says her father is improving. Thank you for the prayers. We will keep the prayers coming.
Yes, we will keep in prayers. Glad to hear that.
Yes.
Love yourself.
Have a productive week. Make the rest of this week productive. It's Wednesday. That means you can turn it around and do something positive. And we'll see you back here on Friday.
Okay. Bye-bye. See you guys.
It's 12 noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. on the West.
And this is Reprint.
This isn't breaking headlines. This is a second look with context added for perspective.
This is Reprint, edited after the headlines.